going on, everyone? This is Sarge, and it's a pleasure to share some insight with you guys on how I run with the Recon class, my kit setup, DPI settings, and my mouse settings, and all of that stuff. And I know I've been getting a lot of questions regarding that, and so this video is going to compile all that into one video. Also going to share with you guys a couple tips on how to better your game with the Recon class in Battlefield 4, how to engage enemies in a close quarter situation, and some of the tips that might help you to hopefully get off the shots that you guys want. And you know, again, there's a lot of different play styles out there, I understand, but this is just to show you guys what my play style is and some of the ideas behind playing the Recon class of Battlefield 4. So the first thing you'll notice that with my kit setup here, I like to use the M4A5. M4A5 is the weapon that you unlock later in the game. It has a faster pull bolt compared to the CSLR4, and if you can get more shots off consecutively with a bolt action, when it comes to damage scaling, they're identical, but because it shoots faster, I prefer that. I use the rifle scope 8 times now. I prefer that only because you can pick farther targets off with that on. And then laser sight I use as another attachment. That's just to get my no scopes off if people tend to flank or catch me off guard. For those close quarter engagements, no scopes tend to be more accurate with the laser rifle on. And so you'll see the handgun of choice I use, the M9. No really attachments on that, it's just the iron sights. I've seen some people run with a flashlight to blind people. I haven't tried it yet, but for me, I like to get, because of the game, you have to rely on your sidearm much more than you do, that you have had to in previous titles. I tend to want the most accuracy as I can possible. Motion sensor mines are something else I run with. C4 is the other attachment, and so I'll toss around the motion mines between that and the laser designated device, depending on the situation that I'm at the time. Defensive is what I usually use for the field upgrades, as it tends to allow me to engage my targets at a more aggressive pace as opposed to the offensive. They say good defense is a good offense, so I would recommend that. Now, the mouse that I use of choice is a Razer Imperator, and it allows me to scale up to 6400 DPI settings. And so what I've done is in the mouse settings itself in game or on my computer, I have it set to max. But in the game of Battlefield 4, I turned down the mouse sensitivity. You'll notice there that I had it at 15%. The vehicle sensitivity was about standard, and then everything else I sort of have as default. Now the video settings here, you'll see is I always keep everything low. I like a smooth gameplay. The full screen resolution, I only set that there to allow me to see my targets more. I had a problem with the game originally when I would scale up my field of view. I had it out at max, which was 125, and then I had my full screen resolution all the way up to the highest, and for some reason everyone looked like ants on my screen, so I sort of scaled that down and then had my field of view scaled down as well to 105, and that kind of brought the targets out a little more for me. Everyone has their own specific settings in this game. When the full release comes out, I might tweak that just a little more, but just to give you guys an idea of my DPI settings, you'll notice that just one regular swipe across my mouse pad gives me a full 360. So that's just to give you guys an idea of what to set yours at. Everyone has a certain amount of plugins that they might use to give them a better more smooth feel, but for me, this is what I use. Now, the logic behind having my DPI settings low, as what some people would say, is that it gives me more control when I'm scoped in to pull off drag shots. And this is something that I've covered in a tutorial with Bad Company 2. Drag shot is basically identifying where your target's at, sort of guessing, and then using muscle memory within the mouse to sort of carry out your shot. So you'll notice there I'm just sort of dragging my scope into where my target's at, and firing as soon as my crosshairs line up. And obviously this takes quite an amount of practice to get used to. So you just find a target. You can find anonymous objects to practice to in the game. I just found an empty server, and then just sort of start practicing your drag shots. If you guys want more detail on what the drag shot is, I will provide a link in the video description. I cover a lot of sniping tips and in it, and you'll sort of help better your game. And this is something that's very useful in the game of Battlefield, especially Battlefield 4. you're going to want to utilize this tactic. And so I'm using a lot of the objects that I do in the game to practice. There's mannequins that you can find in the D flag. You'll see me here use them as sort of targets to practice to. That'll help your game in general. So yeah, you guys can go ahead and use that to your advantage. This is sort of to give you guys an idea of what your DPI settings and where you're setting them to sort of adjust and you know, reconfigure where you guys want to be in regards to not just sniping, but your drag scopes and the tactics that you use when it comes to the overall Recon class. Quick scoping is in Battlefield 4, but you don't want to fire your weapon prematurely before your scope goes in, as it will register the shot as a no scope, and no scopes in general are off. So as you see me there shooting, you only want to fire your weapon when the zoom is fully activated. Here I'm showing you how accurate the no scopes are with the laser off and then on. So this demonstration here is with it off, and then when I turn it on here, you'll notice that the shots are a little more centered. So that's just to give you guys an idea of the no scope. Again, I wouldn't rely on no scopes to carry you in a game. They're only useful you know, when you're caught off guard or by surprise, or if an enemy flanks you, or when you're just in an aggressive setting like myself. It's just to save my life, but it doesn't happen or work all the time. Another thing to practice is strafing while you're firing. This allows you to keep yourself mobile while your target is firing at you, and you always want to be on the go. You don't want to be standing still, as that just paints yourself a target to be shot down easily. So keeping yourself mobile like this and practicing that makes you a harder target to fire at. And so you just want to scope in and try to shoot the same target while you're strafing side to side. Here's another technique I like to use as well, is just sort of proning behind cover and then getting back up and then firing my weapon. This will allow you to practice your drag shots also as well. So you want to find your target, and then you go into a prone position, which sort of throws your scoping off just a little bit. But you want to keep the idea that you have an idea where the enemy's at. And so when you scope in, you want to try to drag shot your target as quick as you can when you see them, and then go back down. Again, this is to eliminate as much damage as you can take behind cover, and make you a more deadlier target and harder to aim for the enemy. Obviously, there are a lot of things that fall into place in actual gameplay, like suppression, which is another reason why I like to run with the defensive battle field upgrade, as that allows me to take less suppression, and that's something that you want when it comes to Recon class, which you rely heavily on just that one shot. So less suppression is good. So yeah, take that into consideration. That should help you in general. Well, hopefully you guys can use some of the information in this video to help better your game and quality in using the Recon class in Battlefield 4. Above all else, never forget to be bold, be fast, be aggressive when you're out there on the battlefield. My name is Sgt.Enigma, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.